I'm sitting here in my office working on my growth mindset and Genius Hour professional development workshop that we will be launching in January. And I can give you a sneak peek. I am super excited about this workshop. It's funny, I think that you have to be a learner yourself. I'm presenting on this information and I've been in it in very deeply, reading all of the research, reading all of the books, watching it being implemented in classrooms. But I too am learning how to apply growth mindset both for our students, but also for myself. And so, there's a difference between having a growth mindset and having a fixed mindset. And in a fixed mindset, you believe that your skills and your intelligence are sort of carved in stone, that you were kind of born with a certain IQ, a certain amount of intelligence, and that you really don't have the capacity to change that very much. Hi, Miss Sonia. Hi, Kim. And so as I'm reading and kind of delving into this, one thing that really sticks out to me is that with a fixed mindset, you don't believe that you have the capacity to grow yourself intellectually or skill-based wise or change certain things in your life. And a person who has a growth mindset believes that skills and intelligence are things that can be changed, that they can be developed with hard work and with effort, that you can cultivate these skills. And so it's making me think of several things, one of which is this topic of happiness again. Happiness really is a choice and it's a practice. It's something that you have to practice every single day. And so as I was making my way through this book Mindset for like the 5th time because I love it so much, and I'm working on my presentation, I called my husband this morning because, I feel like, and I've told you guys the research before, but 50% of your happiness level is genetic and you can't change it. And then I've told you all about the 10%, which is our external circumstances. And the part that gets me the most excited is that each and every one of us have the ability to increase our happiness levels by 40%. Every single one of us has the capability to do that. And I do believe that's a practice that I've put into my life in the last 10 years. And thank you, Pat. Thank you. It's work. It's a practice, but it's something that I'm constantly aware of. And that's why I'm so excited to teach these tools at the happiness retreat next year, because what I have found is that people in general want to reconnect with the heart and soul of who they are. They want to find ways to be courageous, to thrive in their lives, to take risk, to really be real, to be who they are. And thank you, Sonia. And so it's these tools that I feel like can uplift others, that we can learn to elevate our own lives, that we can learn to flourish and thrive. But I have to tell you, and I'm looking here for this particular slide because I called my husband this morning and I said, you know what? I know one thing that's impeding pieces of my happiness. And one of those things, if I can find it here on my PowerPoint, because it just really, really stuck out to me, was that all of us kind of have this inner monologue. We have these beliefs that are constantly running through our mind, these phrases, these words, this monologue, this self-talk. And what we know is that our beliefs are sometimes what can cause our unhappiness. This is how, for those of you, and my Sonia Caseboat will know this because she's a little psychology, I think she majored a little bit in psychology, but cognitive behavioral therapy was born out of this idea that this psychologist found that if he could make people aware of their beliefs, they could name their beliefs, make them aware, that he could then teach them how to change their beliefs. And that's how cognitive behavioral therapy came about, which is one of the most profound methods for helping people out of anxiety and depression. And one of the things that I was reading in here, and I can find it right here in this book, but a fixed mindset has this internal monologue that is always focused on judging. I failed at this. I'm a loser. I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I didn't get that promotion. I must be a loser. That's how the fixed mindset works. And the growth mindset also has an inner monologue going. And all of us are always evaluating and analyzing this monologue. But with growth mindset people, it's not about judging themselves because they are weak in a skill, or because they don't do something well, or they made a mistake. They don't let it reflect who they are at the core of their being. And so what they do is they are obviously sensitive to positive and negative information, but they are kind of more in tune with the learning. Like, what is the lesson in this challenge? What is it that I'm supposed to come out of this and do better at, be better at, improve upon? What is my learning in this particular challenge? How can I improve? How can I be a better partner? And one of the things that really stuck out with me is that it said that some people put extreme interpretations on things that happen. Like they overanalyze, they catastrophize, they just kind of beat it like a dead horse. And that causes anxiety, and it causes depression, and it causes anger. And so I called my husband up and I was asking him, how's your day going? And he's like, oh, I'm really behind. I feel like I'm 2 weeks behind, in this particular project. But the difference between me and Scott, and this is the gift he gives to me, I am an overanalyzer. And when something bad happens, I have a tendency sometimes to over exaggerate its consequences on my life. Which is why, every few weeks, like I said, I'm laying on the floor of my office thinking, oh my God, my business is going to fail, and I'm a disaster, and I'm not going to be able to get this project finished, and do we have enough signups? And then 2 days later, I feel like I'm, kicking some major ass. But that's how I react to things. But what it's making me think is I have a fixed mindset. I judge myself too harshly. And so what happens is when I am confronted with something, my mind just immediately catastrophizes the event. And so this is an area that I can see is sometimes contributing to my own happiness. And it's something that I want to look at and reflect upon and get better at. But that being said, there are a set of tools that I feel like I can honestly say I have increased my happiness levels immensely with these tools that I want to teach. And yes, you're exactly right, Sonia. That is why I run. Like if I get frustrated, I have to go out and run. I'm like, I told a friend the other day, I'm like, I can only run so much. But one thing, so I'm super excited about this idea. It even talks about how do we talk to our kids? Do we judge our kids? Do we say, you're so irresponsible, you didn't do the dog bowls today? That's a judgment. And it's not that we don't want to hold our students and our children up to high standards, but we have to really use the words the right way, not as a judgment, but as how can we look at this different? What do you think you need to do differently? Can you put forth more effort? How is this causing chaos in our family? Being more reflective about the behavior rather than calling someone bad or irresponsible or careless. And so I'm so excited to teach this with educators. I'm super excited. I'm going into a classroom on Thursday to practice some growth mindset activities with a class. And I want to give you an update on our Happiness Rocks project, because what's interesting is when I do these videos, you wouldn't believe the private messages that I get from people. Like last week, I had 3 different people say, I'm really sad. I don't know how to be happy, and I would really appreciate a happiness rock. First of all, it takes courage to tell somebody that. And secondly, I think that we have a lot of people who are struggling right now. And so we have to think about our judgments towards other people, and how do we become kinder and more compassionate. And yes, you're exactly right, Jason. Words mean things. Words mean things. And so for the Happiness Rocks project, I'm going to take you outside because I had a lot of people who wanted to participate last week who were out of town, and they said, would you please do this again? And I have found a much simpler way to do this. But I just want to show you out here, I've been spray painting more Happiness Rocks, okay? And we have a lot getting ready to go out. And then I also, I just kind of threw that together last week, so I wasn't super prepared. But now that I found an easier way to do it, I also found these really cool, for those of you who are wanting to do this, there's these really, I got these from Amazon, okay? And you can actually write on the rocks and draw with them. And so what I'm gonna do is we're gonna do another painting of Happiness Rocks session because we have a lot of people who are wanting to do it again, only this time I'm going to have the rocks spray painted and then we can spend all of our time decorating them. But I got to thinking about what Carrie Brown had said. She had sent me a message and she said, what do you think about like sending a note with the Happiness Rock? Like what if I sent a note? What would I say? Well, first of all, I thought that was a fantastic idea. It's great if you just want to kind of put the Happiness Rocks around, but it's a little more powerful if you attach a note to it. And so this week, that's what I've been doing. And so what we know is that for something to actually change our brain chemistry, we need to do it 21 days. And so for me, I'm committing to 21 days of random acts of kindness. And what that means is I have all of my cards, my envelopes with people's names on them, my cards, and actually usually when I'm running, that's when it comes to mind. Hey, I would like to send this person a note of appreciation or give them a compliment or write a little note about what effect they have had on my life. And so for 21 days, and I'm making a list because those of us who chart our progress, that's what fuels us. And so I have a little list of people that I've started sending it to. And basically what I do every day is I fill out a card and I decorate a Happiness Rock. What's really funny is the person that this Happiness Rock is going to, actually I was sitting here decorating it and my phone flashed on and it showed that she started following me on Twitter. And I thought, geez, that's the universe talking right there. Here I am decorating a Happiness Rock for her. But I am committing to 21 days of random acts of kindness with these Happiness Rocks, which means every day a letter will go out with a Happiness Rock to someone that I care about. And so we know that our brain performs better at positive. And this can be a positive email, it can be a positive note. I do suggest that you put it in writing, but I want to challenge all of you for 21 days to try doing some type of random act of kindness, because that's going to contribute to your 40%. George, are you wanting to say hi? Georgie is here. He's got his head out the window, making sure that no UPS people or FedEx people pull up. Georgie, can you say hi to everybody? Huh? George? Hey, you've contributed to Mommy's happiness level, haven't you? Most of the time. So anyways, that's an update. I'll let everybody know when we're going to decorate these new sets of rocks. But like I said, I want to challenge everybody to go one step further. It can be one nice email every day for 21 days that you send to someone. It can be just dropping a happiness rock off at someone's house, or you can take it a step further and you can attach that little card or that little note, which is what I wish I would have done the first round. I just started doing that a few days ago. But what happens is after 21 days, you actually rewire your brain and it allows your brain to work in more optimistic ways. And you begin to process and see the world differently. And so I'm looking here, sorry, I don't know if I can turn my phone, so I'm trying to read some of your, oh, that's great, Pat. You know what? You are such a, oh, wow. I'm reading what Pat Kattenberg just said. She's such a spirit-filled woman, and she's obviously co-creating her life with God, just in this message here that I see where she had a stroke, and instead of being angry. She's thanking God that she's not paralyzed. And so, folks, every piece of this is about our perception. And it is our mission in life to raise and uplift and inspire others. That's how we contribute to our society, to our communities, to our family members. Those are the things that really matter in life. And so we all have to wake up with a purpose of how do I want to contribute today to the well-being. And so, like I said, I'm super excited. I don't know how I'm going to get this presentation done. I'm totally under a deadline. But I'm going to get this Genius Hour and Growth Mindset presentation done. And not only that, it's going to be a kick-ass presentation, and it's going to help educators. I just am so excited to share it with them. But I also want to figure out, how do we work with some of this growth mindset information in the upcoming happiness retreat? I have to tell you, this is a super surprise. I almost forgot. So I don't know if all of you know Susan Hyatt, but she's actually from Evansville, and she's a master life coach. She is just absolutely brilliant. She empowers women all across the world. She is just crazy. She does these retreats where she teaches people how to become bosses and entrepreneurs and how to take their business to the next level. And she takes people on retreats to London and Paris, and oh my gosh, she's just everywhere. She just got off the Queen Mary, I think. She worked with a group of entrepreneurs over the last several days to get their business going. And so what I have been lucky enough to do is I am enrolled in one of Susan's kind of retreats where she's going to coach me on exactly how to pull this happiness retreat together so that it's maximized for the participants' benefit. And so I've put a financial investment in this with Susan because I know that Susan can make sure that my happiness retreat is exactly what my participants need. And so I'm super excited to work with her. I actually get to go meet with her in Louisville and spend 2 days being coached by her. And I just feel really, really lucky to have made that connection with her, and that she's willing to help other people like me who want to begin designing these retreats. So look for some more of that information. And lastly, consider, what do you want your 21 days of random acts of kindness to be? It's something to think about. Good luck.